Hey guys, Albert here, and before we get started, I just wanted to drop a quick reminder that if you like this podcast and you want to help support it, you can go over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/twoweirdidn'twatch and give us money, which we will use to buy better mics. Because, dear Lord, do we need better mics. Okay, on with the show. Hello everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Too Weird Didn't Watch.
I'm excited.
The show where we make fun of movies based on nothing but their weird synopses.
Do we have a theme song now? Is that what's happening?
We have a theme song now, and that's what's happening. Yeah!
My name is Brantley.
My name is Albert. This theme song's still going on.
Your challenge is to read all the movies like that. And if you try, I will leave.
Wait,
Choose
so
carefully.
I shouldn't do that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you challenged me to do it, and then you're like, no, don't do that.
Yes.
The Ghoul is our first movie.
All right.
Are you ready for The Ghoul?
Sure.
Or Ghoul? Ghoul?
The Guardians of Ghoul?
Yeah.
I like those books.
No.
It's World War II with owls. And a lot of racism.
The first... Is the racism like...
Between owls, not actual people.
Oh, okay, so
You
the
had, like,
book
these-
acknowledges the racism.
Yeah, no, you have these barn owls who are the pure ones. And then the darker colored owls are the less pure ones. And then there's the not barn owls who are just the enemy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aga Ben Dragor, a knife-wielding, enigmatic Egyptian Arab, is seeking a sacred jewel, which has been stolen from an ancient tomb.
That's a Skyrim enemy name.
Aga Ben Dragor!
You kill him, you get an epic drop sword. You can take on Parthenax.
I mean, he has almost dragon in his name.
He's got dragon and gore combined.
I know.
That's like a metal band. And Aga Ben is like the lead singer or something.
Aga Ben Dragor! Egyptian Arabs! Seeking an ancient jewel! Stolen from an ancient tomb!
I have a secret for you guys. Albert Berg does not, in fact, listen to metal. I know you would have been convinced otherwise by that beautiful performance. But no, he is not a metalhead.
When I was reading this, I wanted to point out that they felt the need to point out that he was one of those Egyptian Arabs.
Well, those are the ones that get on planes, right? Those
Well,
don't use the bombs?
I think that if you say he's Egyptian, like, we're not going to assume that, he's one of those Egyptian Asians? Like, no.
Also, yeah, it's not even Egyptian, like, Muslim. Just Arab.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not saying anything about religion or anything. It's just like, if he's from Egypt, he, by definition, must be Arabic. That's what that means.
Or African, depending on how you determine things.
Okay, that's fair. But, like, still.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's seeking a sacred jewel, which has been stolen from an ancient tomb. The thief tells it... I guess there's a thief, alright?
Well, I mean, it was missing.
Oh, right, okay,
stolen,
yeah. It was stolen, so I guess he...
It didn't steal itself. That's called running away.
Which would have been...
You're under arrest for kidnapping. I ran away. You kidnapped yourself.
It just runs off on, like, two tiny, spindly, like, hand-animated legs. Whee! I'm free! The thief... So he apparently has tracked down the thief right away. Maybe it's at the opening of the movie. He's like, this guy's sleeping... Aga Ben Dragor sneaks in with his knife.
I mean, in fairness, that's not someone you want to mess with. Someone with that name. I don't care what this guy does as a job. Aga Ben Dragor. I don't care which. You don't mess with that guy.
Aga Ben Dragor, action accountant.
Receptionist at a library. I don't care. This dude's gonna mess you up.
Your book is late! Feel the wrath of my knife.
Dude, there was a real cool episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog where he had a book that was like 2 years late, and the librarian started singing like the plagues of Egypt after him.
The thief tells him that he sold it to Professor Morlant, a fanatical Egyptologist who fervently believes in the pagan power of the ancient Egyptian gods.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, for one thing, good move on this thief's part. Like, he don't care. He's just all about, like, oh, shiny thing. And this guy's like, I believe in the pagan power of the ancient Egyptian gods. He's like, well, the price just doubled. Now that I know that you care about this so much.
Yeah, you gotta act disinterested. Like, in your head, you can be like, ah! That's how you're like, oh, it's that. Yeah, it's kind of shiny. I guess it's worth $20.
Dying from a mysteriously disfiguring ailment, Morlant entrusts his faithful manservant to bandage the jewel in his hand and warns him of dire consequences if his dying wishes aren't carried out. Oh, okay. I get what's happening. So after his death, he's going to bandage the jewel in his hand. And it's Morlant's hand, not the manservant's hand. Yeah. I think?
I assume that.
Yeah, okay, because the next sentence says, after his burial in an Egyptian-type tomb on his estate, an anonymous robber. You know, you have a lot of anonymous robbers out there. Most of them don't announce their name as they're robbing you. Go ahead.
So, is he just, like, the sarcophagi guy, or did he build a pyramid on his property and try to hide in there?
I'm thinking not pyramid. I'm thinking like because they had other types of tombs.
True.
In Egypt. So I'm thinking it's like the column style in the front.
Okay.
And then the sarcophagus inside. Although it would be great if he just had like full scale. Well, maybe not full scale. Like it's just a little.
There were different sized pyramids.
Yes, they're right.
Everybody just thinks of Khufu's great pyramid because he paid a lot for that.
It was just like the tiniest pyramid ever. Like his feet are sticking out the end.
It's like a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
After his burial in an Egyptian-type tomb on his estate, an anonymous robber steals the precious stone from the corpse.
Okay.
Although the ghastly-looking dead man rises at the next full moon to seek revenge, neither he nor the audience know which member of the household possesses the powerful jewel. It's another one of these whodunit, but with, like, I forget which one it was back in like the 20s, around episode 20 where
Beast Must Die.
Is that what it was?
That's what the werewolf one was.
Yeah. So you have like a
mummy. A mummy zombie. A mumsy.
Yeah. A mummy rising from the dead.
A mumby.
And like having to figure out who stole the jewel. It's a whodunit with a mummy. I love it.
So I'm presumably he's just killing people off one by one. He's like, eventually I'll find the one that has the jewel. Are the other people trying to figure out who has it? Because it'd be hilarious if the first person they killed was the thief, but they had hidden it. So now it's these people running around not trusting each other and trying to find the jewel while he's hunting them down one by one.
And I'm assuming he can't speak, right? He's a mummy now, and mummy rules are like, you don't go and be like, so hey guys, I'm a mummy, and I'd really like to know what happened to the jewel that was bandaged into my hand after I died.
You say that in all three mummy series, the mummies speak. From Universal, at least.
Oh, that's true. The new one, she definitely.
The princess, she talks. The Imhotep was super chatty. Really creepy scene where he becomes convinced that the female lead is his love interest reincarnated, and so while she's asleep, he starts making out with her, and his mouth rots back into mummy face. And she wakes up in the middle of it, and she's like, no.
Is that the old one?
No, that's the previous series, the Brendan Fraser series.
Okay.
The one I'll let you borrow.
That's messed up.
Yeah. That movie's so much fun. And then the sequels happen. And
you lent me that. I haven't watched it yet.
Should rectify that at some point at your leisure.
Okay.
And then the old one, yeah, Imhotep was chatty. I don't think Karras talked a lot. I've only seen one of his movies, and he didn't really talk there.
I'm kind of sad that Ega Ben-Dragor just sort of disappears.
Yeah, he does. Is he?
He's in the first line. The second
maybe
line,
he's the
right?
thief. The re-thief.
Well, that's possible. I mean, he is an enigmatic.
And somehow he can't leave the property because, cursed from the dead or something.
But he doesn't figure into anything else in the description. So he's just like, he finds out where it's at.
He has an awesome name and a knife.
The thief tells him where he sold it to. And then, we just cut to the guy who got the jewel, and he's all like, I'm dying for some reason, which we don't find out about in the description either. Tie this jewel in my hand or bad stuff's gonna happen.
How old is this movie?
I don't know.
Because I have this image in my head that if it's probably 60s or earlier, or probably in the 50s or earlier, he just has a jacked up face.
Right?
So 1933? Is that correct?
Oh, man, yes.
Then it's just a jacked up face. Because I was picturing like he would be like bent and twisted mummy, like clawing his way down walls after people.
We're looking at a picture of Boris Karloff in the... Like, it's decent makeup. It's not
You've
like
already
the worst.
been a mummy, sir.
Also, this description that I'm looking at here gives it away. It was his assistant. FYI.
That's a horrible description. Okay, that's a new complaint I have now. We've had the sentences and the novelization descriptions. Now we get spoilers to complain about. The trifecta of crappy descriptions.
I pulled this one from IMDb, but I'm going to read this one also. So Henry Morlant thinks an ancient jewel will give him powers of rejuvenation if it is offered up to the god Anubis. But when Morlant dies, his assistant, Laying, steals the jewel. Well, a gaggle of interlopers, including a disreputable lawyer and a fake vicar, descend on the professor's manor to steal the jewels for themselves.
A fake priest in this movie? Why?
Morlant returns from the dead to punish everyone who's betrayed him. Like, all of his friends are all about that jewel. But say friends, like, everybody comes to the funeral and they're like, I'm looking at that jewel. You're looking at that jewel too? I'm going to steal it before you are. And he just kills them all. So it's
Murder on the Orient Express.
I was going to say that, and then I was going to say spoilers because the movie's coming out, but no, you guys should read. You should know that classic reference at this point. But yeah,
that's not even really the point of the story at this point.
They all stole the jewel. Like, each one of them
paid off the assistant to steal it, and he's just like, yes.
He's rolling in the dough. He makes a copy and gives each of them a copy and then runs off.
Zane sells the original. Just continuing the cycle of revenge.
I like that one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
What's next?
I know you're reading.
I'm reading.
Where's your gore in that? Where did he go?
Yeah, I have no idea. I think he's just like the opening thing, and then we just like switch away from him.
Then A, why is he named? And B, why is his name so awesome?
Wait, maybe he gets his own spin-off series at some point, Brantley. Next up, though, we have I, Monster.
Okay.
In this fairly interesting variant on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
It's not great, but there's some stuff to look at, guys. Come on. Just at least give it a shot, please. We need money.
That's somebody else's. This is a third-party writing.
I know.
I don't think that... Anyway.
It's on the back of the DVD cover like this. It's kind of okay. You should maybe check it out. Try Redbox first. Don't really waste your money on it. But, if you could, give us some money. We'd appreciate it.
In this fairly interesting variant on the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde story, from Britain's Amicus Studios, Christopher Lee stars as Marlowe, a stuffy doctor who develops a formula to release inhibitions.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Although I think that this spin on it is a little bit interesting.
Slightly more accurate to the old one. I suppose it's just like split personality now. Because I made a chemical.
Well, it wasn't. The old one was, I'm going to isolate the evil side. And maybe, originally his idea was to sort of eradicate the evil, but I think it was that, over?
But then he just, decided it was kind of fun, and then he's like, wait, no, I need to be Jekyll because that's my life.
Well, the interesting thing about the original is that we don't know a lot of stuff about Jekyll's, basic motivation. We know he was studying the basic components of good and evil. But we don't know what, really his goal was, other than just to sort of prove himself right. So...
he's also not really, quote-unquote, on screen for a good chunk of the book.
Well, yeah, it's other people investigating what has happened
where he went.
Right. And what this weird Hyde guy is. It's very much a mystery story. But this is less about evil and more about, man, I just can't let go of myself, but there's a part of me that wants to go crazy.
So his formula, yes. I'm thinking he took some hops and roasted them and let that ferment for a while.
Yeah, we actually have that already, guys. Yeah. There is a way to release your inhibitions. It's called alcohol.
It's even legal in this time of day, or time of world, but, with moderation, please.
Yeah.
And don't drive.
When he takes it, Marlowe turns into the... by the way, at this point, I'm just assuming he invented whiskey.
This is a weird John Jameson commercial.
He turned into the evil and repulsive Mr. Blake. The twist... They're about to tell us the twist now, apparently.
Okay.
is that Blake gets uglier with each successive dose until he becomes a pitiful ape-like monster. Yeah.
Is he aware of this when he takes it?
Maybe?
Because if he knows this, then it's on him. But if it's just Blake realizes after the fact, and he's just like, on the one hand, I can do whatever I want now. On the other hand, probably should find a way to make this stop happening to me.
If it...
It just needs to get uglier, not like he becomes more animal-like. He's just a bad-looking dude at this point.
Well, he becomes an ape-like monster.
In appearance, it doesn't say he gets dumber.
No, yeah, that's true. So, are you thinking that even when when it wears off and he becomes Marlowe again, he's still, super ugly?
Now that I hadn't considered. I was just assuming if he was aware that when he became Blake, he would be even more ugly.
Okay.
But now, yeah, if it, that's actually also interesting if Blake stays the same, but him turns more monstrous.
Okay. Peter Cushing co-stars...
Yes!
As Marlowe's lawyer friend, and a young Chloe Franks appears with Mike Raven and Kenneth J. Warren.
I don't care about the last
three. I don't know who those people are.
But Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee together is always fun.
Yes. Despite the low budget, now, okay, you're getting a little bit of editorial synopsis here. Director Stephen Weeks manages to present a realistic depiction of Victorian England, and Lee turns in a memorable performance.
For a second, I was going to say a realistic version of the story. I'm like, he turns into an ape monster. No.
The film started shooting in 3D, but the idea was discarded during the production.
Actually, this is kind of dumb. Yes, it is. Cool, we're out.
You could get, the 3D glasses, but then,
that would have been... That's the red and blue one, so yeah.
Finally, we have, and now the screaming starts. I read it like that because it has an exclamation point at the end.
It does. I can see it.
A just married couple. That's not just married, guys. Marriage is a big deal.
No. See, they believe in justice. They're good, upstanding people.
Oh, I get it. Okay. They're lawful good.
Yes. You and your D&D knowledge, it's adorable.
Goes home. They're... Okay. I wrote formatting at the top of this so I could remind myself that it was written really badly. Here we go. A just married couple goes home. Their parents went... A just married couple goes home their grandparents during wedding night. As young Catherine...
Hang on, trying to figure out what that means. It goes home to see their grandparents on their wedding night?
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, most people do certain things on their wedding night that I don't think should involve granddad with. But, we're gonna go with that.
Or maybe that's just they're living in their grandparents' house.
Also possible.
As young Catherine just married Charles Fengriff and moves into his castle. Fengriffin and moves into his castle. So that's just recapping the first sentence.
Then why are they hanging out with the grandparents? Or unless the grandparents are coming to visit and they just didn't make it in time for the wedding?
Could be. She becomes victim of an old curse that lays on the family. On her wedding night, she's raped by a ghost and gets pregnant. Wait. What? Okay.
Ghosts don't have semen.
That's...
I've seen plenty of movies that have ghosts invited sex before, so whatever. Still bad, but, it's ghost and it's imaginary anyways. Also, does this count as necrophilia?
Philia implies that she liked it.
Okay,
really.
So what would be, what is the opposite of necro? What's the Latin word for life?
Weir?
Weirophilia.
Okay, weir is like life essence, virile is where we get that word from. It would be vir. Okay, anyway. The fiancé, Charles Fengriffin, and his fiancée aren't aware about the curse by terrible events occurred in past times and mysterious deeds are actually happening.
Was this all one review you pulled this from?
Yep.
Okay. Gonna have to unpack. This is gonna take a while. This might have been its own episode. So, piecing together what we got so far. Charles and Catherine, they get married.
Yep.
They go to Charles Castle. Grandparents are involved in some respect. Presumably they live there because it's a castle, and so he's got room for family.
Yes, and now I think what's happening now is that
they don't know about the bad history, but this is supposed to be the family castle because it's a curse on the family. But they could have just not been told about it. And then Ghost rapes her, and now she is pregnant with Ghost Baby.
I think this last sentence we just read is flashing back in time, telling us that when they were engaged, because now they're not married, they're fiancé and fiancé again, that he didn't know about it.
Right.
Yes. I also want to point out for the listeners listening at home who can't see what I'm looking at, each sentence in this particular thing that I pulled this from has a space, and then a period, and then another space to start the next sentence.
Yeah.
Every single one has this. Okay, so...
And with the commas.
Yeah, those as well. And it's not all punctuation, because the open and closed
parentheticals are fine, yeah.
Yeah. So that happens, right? That's this part.
We're caught up on that, yeah?
In 1975... I'm sorry.
1795.
In 1795, Silas, a young man who worked in stables, attempts to avoid the violation of his young wife by the noble Fenn-Griffin.
Okay, 1, not cool. 2, why is that the sentence that works?
Yeah, I think it actually does have a subject and a verb at least.
Yes.
Which is kind of something that was missing from some of those sentences we read.
And a few, 3 of those were just the same basic thing, but phrased brokenly and in different ways.
During the taking off between the noble landowner, and the flunky, is severed the hand of Silas.
So Silas and the Lord, when he's like, "Don't bang my wife, what are you doing?" cuts his hand off. Okay.
Excellent translation of that terribly written sentence. Normally we don't have this was so badly written that I was just like, we're just going to talk about the writing in this.
Yeah, there is this really weird thing going on where it's this, ghost raping a dude because presumably he's the ghost of Silas.
It was not a dude that was raped, although
or
that
a lady,
would be
whatever.
Very different.
And he's pregnant still. Everybody gets raped and pregnant by the ghosts. They're already ignoring the fact there's no semen, so.
Ghosts have ectoplasm. Maybe that's what it was the whole time.
Well, you just made all 3 Ghostbuster movies horrifying. Especially the second one where there's a river of it beneath New York. Although it is New York. Anyways, finish this horrible thing.
I'm just trying to steel myself to read these words out loud in the order that they're written.
I just read the first part of the next sentence and it is great.
One time dead the noble.
Is that a song by the Dragor music band? One time dead the noble!
The vengeful spirit returns the castle!
Oh my god, this is a metal album!
The vengeful spirit didn't like the castle? They thought the castle was going to have more features?
Can I get a better one? This one doesn't have any women.
This has your ectoplasm all over it, sir.
It's been used.
It can't be returned after you've used it.
Oh god, the Statue of Liberty in the second Ghostbusters.
One time dead the noble, the vengeful spirit returns the castle. The revenge will be with the successors of the tyrant Fenn-Griffin, yes. Oh! It hurt to read that, the way it was written.
If you pretend it's the lyrics from a song, it works better.
Yeah. The revenge will be with the successors of tyrant Fenn-Griffin!
One time dead the noble, the vengeful spirit returns the castle. The revenge will be the successors of tyrant Fenn-Griffin.
It feels like a translation of a Japanese game that wasn't done very well. Someone set us up the bomb.
So it's like Transformers Armada, got it.
Okay. One time dead the noble.
No, Energon, my bad.
The vengeful spirit returns the castle. The revenge will be with the successors of tyrant Fenn-Griffin.
Have you seen Transformers Armada and Energon?
I have not.
They're the 2 worst Transformers shows ever made. And it's a Japanese anime, and then when they brought it to America, they just ran it through Google Translate and then handed it to the actors.
The severed hand which is not the ghost, I want to point out, goes back to torment the young couple.
Okay, this is hundreds of years, so it's like a skeleton running around.
I mean,
or it's the secret origins of Thing.
I was gonna say it could be mummified or like in a jar or something. Like it's already running around on its own. We don't have to ask why it hasn't decayed at this point.
I'm picturing you like
logic is gone
in a jar and then
busts out.
Post ghost coitus, it like twitches and then breaks out. Because need I remind you, ghost coitus happened.
Do you think that the hand was involved?
I don't know, because time and cause and effect isn't really important in this description. So maybe it opened the door for the ghosts.
They are caught up by an ominous ghost. We know!
He's a rapist! That's pretty ominous!
And become inextricably involved in weird killings with several corpses.
Also, she's pregnant with a ghost baby!
I like how that's just sort of like a throwaway at the beginning. Like, yeah, she's pregnant by a ghost, but there were some killings, and now there's some corpses.
You could have this whole movie just be about ghost pregnancy. Her trying to figure out what happened. Or the guy kind of mad that his wife's pregnant without them having sex. Presumably. I don't know. They're married now.
Well, they did have their... Yeah, did they have their wedding night? Or, like, she's, like, getting ready in bed in their wedding night. And, like, it's dark or whatever. And some glowing thing comes in and she has never seen him naked. So she's just like, I guess that's just what good dudes look like without their clothes on.
I'm assuming she was asleep.
Hey, no, okay. Your version's less fun though, Brantley. And not that okay. I feel bad now that I've talked about.
I know this is the thing. This is the thing we have to acknowledge. Rape, bad, the worst thing you can do to another person.
I mean, murder's also up there.
They're done at that point.
Yeah, I guess.
Rape victims, rape is a very intimate action, and they have to live with that for the rest of their life. And some of them can no longer have intimacy after that. Rape ruins people's lives. Not only the person himself, but people around them.
Murder also does ruin people's lives, though.
Yes, but the core victim is done. I'm not saying murder's good. Murder is like slightly below rape in the ranking of horrible, horrible things.
Okay. I don't know that I 100% disagree.
We're dropping some seriousness on this really bad rhythm description.
They will confront the mysterious evil and legacy of horror of the Fengriven family. So, here's what I think is happening in this description. These two get married, get hitched. He takes her back to the castle. She gets raped by a ghost. Then we get a flashback to the fact that the ghost is possibly the ghost of the stable hand who had his fiance raped.
I imagine there's a bit where she's like, did anything happen in this castle? Because she doesn't want to tell him, like, I was raped by a ghost. Because he's going to be like, no, you weren't.
Yeah.
But, she has, and then they start digging into the history of the castle, and he's like, I don't really know. My dad or granddad or whatever didn't really talk about it. Meanwhile, the grandparents, which are here, by the way, are just like, should we tell them about the whole ghost thing? And the grandpa's like, nah.
I don't know where he did cut off his hand. I guess you're right that maybe, like, after the ghost rape, then he inhabits his hand that they have kept around for some reason.
And it could just be on the property.
I guess.
And then gets buried over the centuries.
Like, crawls itself up out of the cave. I like the idea that they have it in, like, a display case, though. Like, and here's the hand that we severed from the stable boy who's trying to stop us from raping his wife. Hilarious, was it not?
I'm picturing this scene where he for some reason keeps the stable boy on. He keeps him on as the job, but he's in there greeting guests, and he's got like the hand on the shelf and the formaldehyde, and he's like, "What's that?" And he goes, "Oh, this is the hand of a very bad individual that I had to deal with." And he turns to the stable boy, "Isn't that right, sir, Silas?" He goes, "Yes, sir." Kind of hides his stump.
That's rough.
This is a rough movie,
and it's a really bad description. I want to point out there weren't like. This was the reason I'm reading this terrible writing is because that was the most complete description I could find of the movie.
I'm assuming is this an English movie?
Yes.
I'm assuming the review wasn't by someone who had English as a first language.
I think that's probably
correct. May have written in their native language and then just did Google Translate so that, it's an English movie. People who speak English would probably read this.
Google Translate might have also caused the formatting issues with the periods.
Possibly, yes.
Well, that'll do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.